Good evening, Saxy. Thought I'd give everyone a update on where we're at with Hurricane Laura. As most of us probably know, the hurricane is a very dangerous hurricane and it is headed in our general direction. But as I'll talk about in a second, probably not in as much our direction as we would like it to be. So, with that being said, let's go to the current conditions. At my house, of course. Temperature is 82, dew point 72, rather muggy out there. Relative humidity is 73%. Makes the wind east northeast at 8. Has been gusty, over 15 miles an hour some this evening. That will kind of fluctuate. Obviously, we won't see any kind of wind that they're going to see on the coast, but it'll be breezy, that's for sure. And what we are all interested in, of course, is hey, is it? Well, first of all, we're definitely interested in what's going on down the coast. But for this neck of the woods, our neck of the woods, we're interested in is it going to rain or not? So I do have a little bit of good news. So let's just go to the radar. And as you can see, there is some rain out there. And it's somewhat impressive. So if we put this in motion real quick, you can tell it's wants to go north more than west, which is not great news for us, but here in Saxby. But we're hoping that it kind of creeps its way to the west some more. We'll just have to see. Sadly, this is maybe our best chance for rain out of this whole system. And I'll talk more about that in just a second, but let's see if I can expand out here a little bit. Yeah, like I said, you can see that outflow boundary from the previous storms moving south, and if you kind of scoot this over here, you do see that there's a decent amount of rain out there. It's just is it going to creep far enough west to get us? And you got some of this rain that's especially down in this area that I think is got to if it holds together, has a chance to get us, and let's hope it does. All right, so let's get back to Laura and get the particulars on her. And first of all, we'll start with satellite picture. And boy, that eye really stands out, doesn't it? It is one of those things that kind of hard to miss there. So it is, as you can see, this morning when we talked about this, it was moving more west northwest. Now it's moving really, I wouldn't say due north, but I would say north northwest, and it is on track to hit the Texas Louisiana border there. Probably after midnight, you're probably talking 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And then it will basically take a track. If I can get my graphics on here, it'll basically take a track like this. And that, well, you know what? I wish it would. That's a little generous. It'll probably take a track, something. Well, if I can get it to work, something like that. As I mentioned many times, that's on the west side of things, and typically you have a lot of sinking air on the west side of hurricanes, and that doesn't do any good for our rain chances. Of course, we need rising air to form clouds and to form rain. So, but not all is lost yet. So let's look at the particulars as of the 7 p.m. intermediate advisory. So you can see Hurricane Laura. The maximum sustained winds have increased to 150 miles an hour. So that is just really 6 miles an hour below Category 5 strength. Now, I guess there's probably a small chance that it would increase a little bit more to get to Category 5. I don't know that it's actually going to get that strong. It may get that strong in temporarily, but I don't know if it'll be that strong when it hits the coast. But regardless, it's going to be a catastrophic hurricane. There's no doubt about it. Whether it's a 4 or a 5 or even a 3, it's going to be devastating for those areas, especially anything east of the center. Now, west of the center, where you have Galveston Bay and things like that, that's going to be an offshore flow, so that will help them. But doesn't mean it won't get squally weather. They'll just have to watch out for that. So, like I said, and if for you geography people like I am, that puts it at 28.4 north latitude, 92.9 west longitude. And like I said, moving north-northwest at 15 miles an hour. And you can see the track to where it's going to be at 1 o'clock tomorrow. It'll be a tropical storm by then. And then, of course, into Arkansas on Friday, then off to the northeast. Now, as far as the particulars, let's face it, here in North Texas, we're looking at rain, and are we getting rain out of this? And, just to give you an idea, I'm sure you can kind of get an idea, but, Dallas Fort Worth, somewhere right there. So we're not in the cone of 1 inch, and this green area represents at least an inch of rain. So, like I said this morning, that doesn't mean it's not going to rain. It just means it most likely won't rain an inch. And right now, I'll take anything anything Mother Nature is going to give us as far as rain. Because as one of my great Facebook friends, Abra, said, it's pretty dry out there, pretty parched. So we do need some rain. So hopefully some of this rain will get us here tonight. This is the proposed wind field, and if you remember from this morning, that contour line was a little further west. Now it's kind of going a little further east. Now remember, that's anything within that outer contour means that there's a 5% chance of you seeing tropical storm force winds, 40 miles an hour, sustained or higher. As I mentioned this morning, there wasn't a good chance we would see that anyway, but now with the path of the storm, of course, it'll be less and less. But, if you're in East Texas, Louisiana, they are definitely going to see much more wind and much more rain. Now, this is, I wanted to show this because this is one of the things that is probably one of the most dangerous aspects of the hurricane is the storm surge. This is a storm surge map. And you can see, starting at Freeport, this is, and by the way, everything in red is a storm surge warning. And so what they're expecting in Freeport and Galveston Bay, 2.4 feet in height, that's over the normal tide level. And then, of course, you don't have to go too far east, 6 to 9. Then you get 10 to 15. And then, of course, in just south of Lake Charles, 15 to 20 feet. Now, when you think about that, I guess in one sense, it's like, oh, okay, well, big whoop. But, that's 20 feet tall, wall of water. That'll devastate. Kind of like when Hurricane Ike went through Galveston in 2008. That's devastating. The storm surge wasn't that high, but it was still over 10 feet if I remember right. So that's really, really bad news for them. So hopefully anybody that's in that neck of the woods that's already left, you would definitely want to do that, because that is not anything to mess with. And it's not always the wind, it's not always the rain, it's the storm surge that kills more people in hurricanes than anything else. So that's why you have to take it very seriously. So let's look at the current watch and warning setup here for our area. And as you can see, there are no warnings or watches or really any advisories for our neck of the woods, really anywhere in North Texas. You have to get over to Tyler, where they have a tropical storm warning in effect. And then, of course, you see down there in Lufkin, they have a hurricane warning in effect. So, the big scheme of things not that far away, but from a hurricane standpoint, that's a long way away, because that's where they're going to see the rain. And, of course, in the green shading, you see flash flood watch. And again, that's the Mount Pleasant area, Mount Vernon, just east of Paris. They're expecting quite a bit of rain there. So, but right now, obviously, from a storm standpoint, we're not expecting much impact at all. Like I said, I think what we're trying to hope for, actually, we're going to hope for two things. One is we're hoping for everybody to be safe down there at the coast. Hopefully they've all gotten out of the way. I talked to my awesome 7th grade teacher, Miss Tally, and she is in Conroe, so I was talking about her this morning. So, Miss Tally, if you're listening, I'm glad you're safe. And I think you'll have something to come back to in Galveston. I think Galveston's going to miss the worst of it. But, anybody down there even in the Houston area, it looks like Houston's going to be spared the worst of things, but that doesn't mean that they can't have isolated, localized problems. So, they're not totally out of the woods yet, but, it's looking like they'll miss the worst of it, which is good. We certainly wish we could say that for our friends in Beaumont and Lake Charles, Louisiana. Unfortunately, they will not miss the worst of it. And so if we go back to the track map real quick. So like I said, this is looking pretty solid as far as what the track of Laura will be. And which means that, like I said, we'll be on the west side of the storm, which typically has sinking air. So I think that, I hate to say it, but I don't think we're going to get a lot of rain out of this. I like I said, I think tonight is probably a decent chance. Not saying it wouldn't rain tomorrow, but I'm a little down on the rain tomorrow. It's not looking great. Doesn't mean things can't change, but right now I would love to be pleasantly surprised about that. So in that spirit, let's go back to the radar real quick before we wrap it up. And so things holding together pretty good. So that's good. So let's hope for that. These are nice rains. So if you can get under one of them, that would be awesome. So I would say within the next hour or two, you're probably talking, a line like that. If you're west, not west, if you're east of that line, you probably got a decent chance of seeing rain. If you're west of that, probably not. Sorry for my buddies in Denton and Tarrant County. It's not looking too good. Now, having said all that, let's go back one more time to the map. So, like I said, that's something that's a track that we're looking at, and you know, it's there we go. It's not looking great, and that's actually not the map I want to show. That's the map I want to show. What can I say? It's not looking good for rain, but I'm not giving up hope yet. Not giving up. Now, lastly, I'll say, and I don't know if this is going to work or not, so I'm going to try to do a chat, Facebook room chat. I have no idea how it's going to go. I've tried to do it before, and doesn't seem to work. So I will give it a shot tonight. And if you want to talk hurricanes and all the cool stuff we could talk about as far as how it interacts with our weather a lot of times, then I'm going to give it a shot. I'm hoping, looking out my window here, getting a little darker, so I'm hoping that rain stays coming our way, and hopefully it'll hang together for everybody to get a little rain. With that, as always, I appreciate everybody watching. That's the latest on Hurricane Laura. Like I said, very dangerous storm for our friends in southeast Texas and southwestern Louisiana. For us, it might be a bunch of nothing. Let's hope not. Let's hope we get something out of it, something being rain. Okay, so I'm going to try to do a chat later. I'll try to give you a heads up on social media. And with that, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, I'm watching the weather, so you don't have to. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.